Hey there, and welcome to this brief lesson entitled Microsoft PowerPoint for Presenters, How to Animate SmartArt. My name is Tim Warner. I'm at Tech Trainer Tim on Twitter. I'm a profoundly colorblind person, so I'm of no benefit to you really in terms of PowerPoint design, but I do have some tips, tricks, and suggestions. This one today I think you'll find pretty useful. Let's come out of the presenter view in PowerPoint by pressing Escape. I'm on a Windows 10 workstation. And let's advance to the next slide here. I'm going to teach you how to animate SmartArt. SmartArt, if you're not aware, is basically finished presentation quality art that can save you time that otherwise you'd be using the drawing tools. If you need a flow chart or a process diagram, if you want to do a list that has some pizzazz to it, and you don't want to horse around with drawing the whole thing yourself, what we can do, I'm in the latest version of PowerPoint here on Windows. I think it's 2019. Let's go to the Insert tab. And in the Illustrations ribbon section, we have SmartArt. And you notice that there's a number of SmartArt graphic categories. I tend to use the list a lot in my work at Pluralsight, but notice that there's process diagrams, there's cycles, there's a lot of cool stuff in here actually. I'm going to go to List, and I'm going to choose this vertical bullet list. This is what I use in my Pluralsight courses a whole lot. We click OK, and it comes in based on the design theme of the underlying PowerPoint template. Now, of course, you can come up here and change on the fly. And under SmartArt Tools, you've got Design where you can change the colors. I'm not going to do that in this example because we're focused on animation. But I just wanted to drive by, so to speak, and show you. You can change the colors as well as the style of the bars. You can reset the graphic and so on and so forth. I'm going to double left click the tab here to hide the ribbon and give us some more screen real estate. This type your text here you can drag around. I oftentimes will resize it with my mouse because as I'm creating my courses, I don't care about the graphic in the background. So I'm going to just do some simple stuff here. Subhead, then I'm going to arrow down, subhead. Keep wanting to do subnet. Now I press enter and notice that it stays indented. You can use Shift-Tab to go back. I'll do that for heading 3. And then Tab to go forward a level. I'll call this subhead. And we'll just leave it at that. That sounds good. We can close the balloon there. You can always bring it back by using this control here. We can make sure that you've got the four-headed arrow on your mouse pointer, and you can drag individual bits around. If you do that and make a mistake, Control-Z to back up. If you go to the border, it allows you to bring the whole thing around here. So I'm going to make this dead center on my screen. And so the way this works is it's all there. I mean, if we go over to the animation screen and bring out the animation pane, let me double left click the ribbon. I guess we need it after all. If we select any part of the SmartArt and go to Add Animation, I tend to just use Appear because I don't like to put a whole bunch of motion on the screen. It comes as just a single animation object. By the way, I tend to habitually in the animation pane, let me bring this out a little bit more. I'll right-click and hide the advanced timeline. I tend to work with the simple one. Your mileage may vary. But if we go to slideshow view and then advance, it brings the whole thing in. That's definitely suboptimal. So I'm going to select the current animation, press delete to get rid of it. And let me just show you a trick. I want to give a special shout out to my friend and Pluralsight colleague, Heather Ackman, because Heather Ackman is who originally showed me this tip. What we're going to do is three things really. The first is we're going to select the entire SmartArt graphic. And the easiest way to make sure you've selected the entire thing is to bring your mouse to the border, click once, make sure that you see the resize handles all around it. Now you stay on the border, don't come in here. You don't want to get PowerPoint confused. We want to do the operation on the entire SmartArt graphic. We right click and go to Convert to Shapes. Boom. So that still keeps just a single object, but it converts it into individual shapes that we can then manipulate. But they're all grouped. So the second step, step 2 of 3, is again to right-click the border of the object and ungroup it. We go to Group and then Ungroup. And now click Away, and we can manipulate each of these items completely separately. So again, to review, we selected the SmartArt graphic, we right-clicked and converted it to shapes, then we right-clicked the graphic and did an ungroup operation. Those are the first 2 of 3 steps to animating SmartArt. The third and final step is to do the animation itself. And what I'll normally do is something like this. I'll choose in this case, the first block, and I'll do an appear. Then I'll place my cursor in the next element and just step through the graphic, whatever it might be, until it's finished. And you can, it's up to you how you want to do the animations. But as you can see over here in the animation pane, I'm advancing each one of these with an individual mouse click. And so now if I go into slideshow view, I'm using my right arrow key to advance. I've got my first heading, then advance to subhead, then next heading, advance to subhead, advance the third heading, and then the subhead. You see? If we want to get crazy, what if we want to bring out the headings and the subheads together? That's pretty easy. If you're wondering where in your animation list a particular item is, they're indicated here, these little hover buttons. So if we see subhead right here, maps to the second element here. It's pretty easy. They're just matching numbers, aren't they? We can select that, right-click, and choose, instead of start on click, start with previous. I'll do the same thing for the other subheads. I'll select each one. Now here's the trick. Just make sure that you've actually got it selected before you right-click it. I'm colorblind, so I have a hard time with color shading. So I physically click and see that border around that row, and then right-click and do a start with previous. So now if we go to finish this up to slideshow view one more time, I advance, and now it brings out the heading and the subhead. Advance, it brings out both. Advance, brings out both. All right, cool. Well, let me bring out the title card to finish this out. I hope you found this little lesson helpful on animating SmartArt. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope to chat with you soon. Take care.